One of the things we really enjoy doing is kind of looking at the stars or being able to just sit up here. It's just very peaceful.
First glance, I was like, absolutely not. I was like, what are you talking about? Like us, like doing that? Like what? There's no way.
So one of the big things that was really important to me was having a nice designated desk area. It stopped being more of like a, well, we could do this and started like, okay, let's do this. Hi, I'm Garrett and this is Stacy. We are the Bronders.
And welcome to our home. Come check it out. So this is our kitchen area. We decided to put it on this side of the van just because we have like our oven and everything over here, and so we wanted to have an easy like vent area for that. And then also we added this little extra piece of butcher block on here so we have more room to put things while we're cooking. That way we don't only have like one little spot on the other side. So this is our oven stove combination. We chose this because we really like to cook, and so this one has 3 burners on top, and then it has the oven underneath. The oven runs off of propane, and our propane tank locker is in this cabinet here. It is an 11-pound propane tank, so it's taller, it's skinnier, and that runs up behind and connects to the oven right there. So underneath the oven, we have another baby lock here to hold this drawer closed. This is our big honker kitchen drawer. So we have our pots, our pans, we have mitts, plates, bowls, Tupperwares, chip clips, all of the good stuff down in here. It's huge, which I love, because again, it's one of our main storage areas for our kitchen appliances. So definitely worked out nicely. And then moving over is our sink. We did want to have a space in between both of them. We thought that was important just so we have extra countertop. We really like the sink. I love the top part of it too. It comes out, you can spray it, you can have it just be a normal stream. So I really like the look of that. It's just something that it's like one of my favorite parts is this area. Our water tank is in the back. It is underneath our bed, and it's a wheel well water tank. So it fits over our wheel well, which helped conserve some space as well. So the sink drains down into this big 7-gallon gray water tank that's down here, and just there's a little hose that connects and goes directly down into there, and we have some paper towels down here as well just for some extra storage. We have a little outlet right here. We wanted something close just in case we want to, you know, plug an appliance in to cook. And then we also have 2 little switches. So we have one for our propane solenoid valve, which helps regulate, you know, how much propane is coming out when you're using it. And then we also have one for our water pump, so you can turn it on, the water pump starts working, and then when you're done you can just flip it off. This is one of my favorite inventions of the van. This is our paper towel holder. Until we get an actual one installed in here, we just haven't found one that we want yet. I've just kind of shoved it up in here and it works great. So for now, that's our paper towel holder. And then for food, we keep like a lot of our dry perishables up here. So like seasonings, teas, coffees, cups, and you know, sandwich bags and things like that. And then over here is where we keep all of our like snacks and just other goodies to eat and whatnot. So we like food, and so we wanted to have a lot of space for that. So that's why we took up 2 cabinets for all of that. And then right underneath that, we have our fridge. It is ran off of our 12-volt DC power, and it's a NovaCool fridge. And we went with the biggest size because, again, we like food, so definitely takes up a lot of space, but we like it just because, again, we wanted as much space to hold our food, whether it's dry or cold. So that is our fridge. So up here is our silverware drawer, and we just added these baby-proof latches from Amazon because when we drive, they tend to fly open, and so we wanted to keep them closed. That way there's not a whole bunch of, you know, movement with all of that. So all you do is pull it open, and then open your drawer, so it's easy. We have all of our silverware in here. We have our spatulas, and other necessary condiments to cook. We have Taco Bell sauce because, you know, It's always good. But lots of goodies in there for the kitchen. And then if you're asking how we go to the bathroom, it is this lovely porta potty toilet right here. All we usually just leave it here if we're not needing it. We really don't use it that often. You are able to go number 1 and 2 if you want to in this toilet. It's just a regular porta potty, but we decided to kind of keep it for just going number 1 because we really didn't want to deal with cleaning it out in that sense. So all we do is we literally just pull it out. We just, open this up. You kind of flush it a couple times. It gets the chemicals and the water flowing. After you go, all you do is pull this little lever here and it drops it down to the bottom. So pretty easy.
We were in a house. I mean, we were both working and things were pretty standard, nothing too out of the ordinary. But I think we just both kind of, or at least I definitely felt that as we were going through kind of like the phases of life, we just kind of felt like we, at this point, were just checking off boxes. We met in high school, well, preschool, but we got together in high school, and then we dated for such a long time, and then we got married, and then we got our house, and we had our jobs, and everything was fine. We had no complaints, but for me, things just didn't feel natural. Almost to the point where like living the day-to-day life kind of almost felt like claustrophobic, kind of like a shackle in a sense, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And the way that I typically describe it is we would plan our vacations and we would go, and I would start calling Stacy, I would give versions of Stacy. I would say, this is sporty Stace, or angry Stace, or hungry Stace, and sleepy Stace for sure. But one of my favorite things was when she was, sporty Stace or adventure Stace, because I felt like that's when she would glow up, and that was just when I felt like she was her best person or best self. And that really resonated with me. I really responded well to that, and I wanted to find out how we could, catch lightning in a bottle, so to speak. And I am very much like an internal person, so I spent probably the next maybe months kind of doing most of the research myself, and I kind of pitched a little bit to her, test the waters, and she was not about it. So I kind of just kept barreling in and trying to figure it out, and for a while we were like, well, maybe let's sell our home and maybe let's move somewhere else. Maybe we need a new location, because it wasn't just me. After a certain point, we both just it felt just completely unnatural is the only way I know how to describe it.
I feel like we knew that we wanted to do something different, whether it's moving or whatever. We were like, let's do something different. What can we do? So our shoe storage is right up here. The van actually came with this spot already, so that was nice. We didn't have to build it or anything. So we just keep all of our shoes up here. And then also our little handy dandy vacuum also lives up here. So that's just nice to keep the van clean. And then over here on this little wall, we have our laundry. So we have a little bag that just hangs on a little hook, and our laundry detergent's underneath that. And so we just throw our dirty laundry in there and then just grab that. And it's actually like a little backpack, so you can just wear it into the laundry places. So that's pretty convenient. And then we have extra little hooks up here for hats and fanny packs. And I love these hooks here as well on the back of the seats. We have them on both just so it carries, jackets and extra bags, laundry bag, day-to-day bags. So just nice to have extra areas to hang things.
So one of the big things that was really important to me was having a nice designated desk area. There's definitely a lot of different projects that Stacy and I both like to work on, but it's really, indicative of having, or it's dependent on us having just this little section. So this was a big deal. Originally we were going to set up a chair and stuff here, but it ended up just being a nice little standing area. But so this is kind of our setup. We have a PC that I built, and it sits up here, and then the monitor as well. And then typically when we want to relax or just kind of like watch shows or a movie or even just listen to music, we'll set this up, and then it comes out and it moves all around different directions. We'll typically turn it that direction, so that way we can sit in the bed and watch it like we're sitting in bed or like on the couch. So that was a really important thing to me, especially because a lot of my friends and people that I'm social with, we share music that we make and write, and we play games together. So this was just a way for us to kind of stay connected with people that weren't always with us. And we have internet that we use that we put on the top, so that way we can actually access it from anywhere. But for this little setup, we kind of have a couple different chairs that we use. The first is we just take our trash can out, and then we have this little cushion, so it ends up becoming like a perfect little chair, and it's like perfect little height. But then for when we're in a bunch, we have this little thing we got at a store where it literally just opens up, so it's kind of a convenient little storable chair that we have. So if you've never seen one of these, they're definitely great. But typically when we're driving, what we'll do is we'll unplug everything, and underneath the tower I actually have like a little cover, and that just covers the whole thing, keeps the screen protected. And then the actual tower itself will just tuck right in next to the fridge, and it's pretty secure there. We don't have to worry about it shifting or anything like that. So that's typically where we'll put it, and then all of this will clean up and go. So for me, music is like a really big deal. It's like a really personal thing. So I have my guitar with us that we always use, but I'll plug that in and kind of set up stuff. So it's kind of like a little makeshift studio when it can be. And then right here we have our battery monitor, and that's kind of so if you're working, you can see, all right, how much battery am I using, just because I don't typically use the PC unless I'm like really getting into something like aggressive as far as gaming or, you know, computing wise. So that way I can tell, okay, am I wearing it down a little too quick? Because if I'm doing something intense, usually that can run our battery down pretty quick. I mean, I can get a decent amount of time, like at least 10 hours on it, but we're still like in that early phase where anytime we drop below 90%, we're like, oh my gosh, we're going to run out soon. So we try to be conservative when we can. Right here we have our bed, but before I get into that, I'll kind of show you like a storage underneath. So our bed can both be a bed and a like kitchen area. More often than not, we end up kind of just eating on our counters and just, you know, hanging out, or even just eating on the bed as is. But when we don't want to do that, we wanted just the option to be able to sit across from each other and be able to look each other and like have a conversation, like, you know, just like we were back at a table at home. So it can convert. Only thing is our table is probably a little wider than most of them, so getting in there is a little bit more trouble. So for the most part, we leave like this, but underneath it, we pretty much have stored like all of our like necessities. So boxers, socks, and just like the daily grabs. So stuff like joggers and other shorts. But in the back, we have just like a little mounting pole that pretty much just clicks in there, screws in, and then this lifts up so we can sit. All right, so one of the things that we put in here was to connect from the front of the cab to the garage. We have these sliding doors on both sides. So like right here, we have direct access to any of our tools. So say something goes wrong in the van, it's just nice to be able to access it really quickly. Got all of our screws and stuff like that, tape. So just kind of the bare necessities of any kind of like, you know, hardware we might need. We have a full memory foam little pad that we have, and we cut it into a couple sections. So this is one long section, this is another long section, and then the back goes across, and then right here are just two little pads. But we wrapped that in an actual like foam pad as well. So it's the foam pad and then a sheet over. So it's actually really comfortable. Even this morning when we got up, we were like, oh, we don't want to get up because we just recently put the pad on there, so it's been nice. We installed a window back here, and we kind of switch back and forth. Sometimes we'll put our heads here, sometimes over here, but it just opens up. It's just kind of nice to have a little bit of natural lighting in the back. And then it opens up, has a nice little bug screen, so that way we can enjoy the temperature outside or the wind or the breeze without having to worry about too many bugs coming and going. And then we also have one of these little mattress or magnetic little strips that goes on there, so it covers it up pretty nice. So when we do want some privacy, it just keeps it nice and secluded.
Like we were doing all of the things you're supposed to do, you know, get your house, get married, do all of that. And I mean, I'm very much like, I just kind of go with the flow and do like, well, not really go with the flow all the time, but I follow rules. I, you know, do all the things that you're supposed to do. And I just remember coming home from work one day and I was like, babe, like, is there, like, there has to be more. Like, there has to be more to life, or at least our life. I'm like, what can we do? Like, I love traveling, whatever. And I remember initially we talked about, again, moving, selling the house, and just going somewhere different. So we really tried that. We were searching for homes and nothing felt right. We couldn't find anything we liked. And so one day we were laying in bed and this is before he really brought it up to me, like, seriously. And he was like, so, like, what makes you the happiest? Like, when are you your best self? And I was like, when I'm traveling and when I'm like experiencing new places, like, all the time, like, that's what I love. And he was like, okay, what if we could do that? What if you could do that and have a home at the same time and like bring it with you? And I was like, that was literally the moment it clicked for me. I was like, what? I was like, what do you mean? Like, tell me more, because I was super interested. And so we started talking about it more. He pulled up lots of videos for me, kind of described it in more detail. And I was like, interesting. And at first glance, I was like, absolutely not. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, us, like, doing that? Like, what? There's no way. Because I was thinking of all the stuff we had, all of our, you know, belongings, everything, and trying to put all of it in such a small space. I was like, there's like, no, like, there's no way. And so I sat on it for a while, kind of kept watching videos, and just kind of saw like just the whole experience and like that it is possible, especially with like my goals and your goals and what we really enjoy. And I was like, okay,
Well, I think
so
one of
now
the
how do we do that?
I think one of the major turning points was I had done like a rough like cost analysis of like, okay, if we were to do this, you know, we could get the vehicle for roughly this much, and if we put this much into the build, we could get it done. And I think we can get it done in at least X amount of time if we really buckle down. And as I kind of started to kind of like not just be like, what if, and started being like, this is what the plan would be, this is how we go about to do it. It stopped being more of like a, well, we could do this, and started like, okay, let's do this. So back here we have the garage, is like the back half. A lot of times we try to leave these open and kind of hang out based on where we park, so backing in is really nice. Like, we were just recently in Galveston, and rolling up to the beach and opening this was really nice. But back here pretty much is kind of the other half of where we were. Our electrical system is all attached on here, so for our electrical we very closely followed the guide by the Explorist Life. We did a 2,000 watt inverter. We have 400 amp hour batteries, and then for our solar setup we have 3 200 watt solar panels, so we have about 600 watts total. Kind of our philosophy in a lot of the projects that we did in our van was we didn't know how much we were going to use, so we wanted to kind of overestimate it. So we tried to give ourselves a surplus. So with our water tank, we had a little bit extra. So our water tank here is 32 gallons. Our battery system is much larger than we probably need. And then same with the storage. Pretty much all along our water tank, which is, you know, pretty decently long, it's all just empty storage right here. So, but both of this on this side and this side, they both open up for storage. But for this one, we try to do less just because our batteries are underneath the little storage. So this is kind of more like a little linen cabinet. And then for our actual garage right here is where we keep kind of like our necessities. So we have some appliances we use. We have an air fryer, which is really nice, super low wattage, so we can actually use this pretty often. A nice little cooler, so that way, like a swamp cooler, so if it does get too hot, we can throw a little cold water in here and it adds a nice little cooling. And then we have our Starlink stored right here, and then some rocking chairs, and then we have a little game here for if you want to play some travel pong, which is nice. And then our tools in the back. This is nice because like if we're laying in bed, we both like to keep like a journal or just like a book of notes. And then Stacy likes eye mask in case she wants to rest. So just like little things that just kind of make the storage more convenient. The last little bit that we have is right here. This is kind of just like our campground essentials. So in here we have this where we have like our extension cables or our hookups for like campsites, extra blankets, a little bit of like survival tools, as well as some like knickknacks, you know, feminine hygiene products. cutting board, and then just extra little pillows and stuff. One of the things we did when we installed our fan was originally we were going to do a fan and an AC unit side by side, but we were super indecisive when we started. So we started the fan on the left thinking that we were going to put it in, and eventually we decided we didn't want to do the AC system. But it actually kind of worked out better because we have this window right here. So whenever we open this window on this side and we have the fan going, there's like a perfect little draft. So it's really nice when our heads are down here because then you have like a nice flow and it's easy to stay cool through the night. So we really wanted to make sure we had a place to come up here and hang out, just because one of the things we really enjoy doing is kind of looking at the stars or being able to just sit up here. It's just very peaceful. I think Stacy definitely wanted that, you know, I don't want to say cliche, but she wanted to be able to come up here and have a cup of coffee with the sunrise or sunset. So I wanted it too, but our deck is a little bit of like a Tetris piece. It looks kind of like a lopsided L just to fit around our fan, but it's been really nice and pretty sturdy. We haven't fallen through the roof yet, so as long as it's here, we'll keep using it.
This is our big window. We didn't want to put too many windows in just because we didn't want to cut that many holes in the van. But we love this window. It's an Arctic turn window. It's very well made. What I really like about it is it opens and there's like 3 different levels it can open at. Let me get it to stay. And then it also has a bug screen, which is very handy. And then at night or whenever we go somewhere, we'll pull it down. There's a nice little shade as well. So it helps with not only insulation, but just privacy. So definitely nice. You can hand out, you know, tacos and stuff as well, but definitely a cool window, so.
The advice I would give anybody who's considering it is that, like, if you have any uncertainty going into your build about certain things, like, I think you're better off putting as much energy into those things as possible, because we knew that we had committed to this decision. So one way or another, we were going to be living in this van. So we didn't want to feel that we were held back by any of the things, because we were like, oh, well, you know, we want to worry about, you know, saving money on our batteries. But at the same time, we didn't want to be in a situation where, like, oh, now we're just so stressed because we don't have, you know, enough power.
Should have done a bigger system, and, you know, like little things like that.
And we didn't want like decisions like that to work against us and kind of take away from our experience to enjoy the build. So, you know, a lot of the things we did, we kind of overkilled it, but I wouldn't change it just because now, like, we have the luxury of being able to say, okay, now we can use them freely. And, you know, after learning, you know, after spending a little bit of time, we're like, okay, this is what we accounted for. Realistically, this is what we use. So if we did another build, we could say, okay, somewhere in the middle is the more practical. But I think, you know, it worked to our advantage to kind of overestimate everything. So that way we didn't have to feel stressed about, are we gonna have enough water? Are we gonna have enough power? Are we gonna be able to work on the road? You know, all those little things. So we did pay a little bit more for some of the stuff that we probably didn't need to spend money on. But I wouldn't say I regret it. I would just say, you know, now we know more.
Yeah, and I think in general, it's mostly like, usually I'm like, oh, I'm glad we did this, or I'm so glad we actually did that, because I remember going back and forth so many times on things like, oh, do we really want to spend that much money? Like, we could do this, but I don't really like that. And so it just kind of worked out the way it did.
Yeah.
Well, we're at Bronderlust on Instagram and TikTok, and maybe YouTube in the future, so stay tuned. But thank you for watching, and thank you for hanging out with us when we went over our van tour. And yeah.
And thank you for inviting us to, you know, come check out our van ourselves. Stay tuned. We have plenty of stuff that we want to put out there. Some good feel-good stuff, and we'll see what the future brings. Thanks so much.